I'm here. What do you need? No questions asked about why she's doing it or whether it's valid.
Chasing this bold mission of eradicating workplace toxicity for women, and helping them to not feel alone or as low as I did.
As a woman in a world that doesn't really support me, true, and I say this with a lot of empathy, because no matter which situation you're in, whether it's that toxic work, whether it's that constant pull of business that just runs you to the ground some days, whether that it's the family dynamic, it doesn't matter which section you're in, the systems aren't there to support you, and they allow people to opt out of supporting you.
When we face toxicity in a workplace or even in life, right, there is so much emotion around that we really do have to pull that away and put pencil to paper and say, okay, what is actually happening here? Let's put a score to it. Let's put a value on that so we can actually see plain as day, am I dealing with toxicity or not?
There's this scene in Frozen 2. Now, bear with me here. Anna is running to save the day after losing everything she loved. And who comes up but this valiant, pungent reindeer king, Kristoff? He scoops her into his arms and says, I'm here. What do you need? No questions asked about why she's doing it or whether it's valid. She's supported. She's scaffolded. She feels empowered. This is not a feeling that many women feel on a day-to-day basis. And it breaks my heart. And that's why we need to talk about it. As women, as business owners, as people in this crazy world. And that's also why we have Kaitlyn here today. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself, why this topic matters to her, and why it should matter to you. Kaitlyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am thrilled to share with the world your story, your impact, and, well, frankly, you, because you're amazing.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so glad to be here, and even more excited to be every woman's Kristoff. So I am, just to give you my background, I'm a physical therapist by trade and a certified wound specialist. And I use all of those things in my day job. But throughout my tenure in healthcare, I unfortunately/fortunately experienced a lot of really unhealthy workplaces. And in about 2018, I hit a really low point. And many times on my drive to work, I would wind up in tears. Got about 20 minutes into my 25-minute drive. And I remember one day just very distinctly just wanting to let go of the wheel because work had gotten so bad. It was so toxic. It was so unhealthy. I was so unhealthy that I've been just ignoring everything and continuing to push through thinking I'm climbing the ladder. This is what I have to do to be a good worker, to be a good leader. And I just wanted to let go. I wanted to go off the overpass and I just wanted to end it all. And that would have been so much easier than showing up at work. And the namesake, Faced with Grace, my organization that I now run and lead, is all due to that moment. I was in that deep darkness and happened to look up in my rearview mirror and saw my roughly 6-month-old in the back seat. And at that moment, I was faced with grace. That was Jesus was in my back seat saying, girl, you better get that steering wheel back in your hands. We got work to do. And ever since then, I've been in this very deep process of self-awareness and self-exploration and just really dug myself out of a very, very low, dark place. And today, I now run, like I said, Faced with Grace. It's a nonprofit organization really aimed at chasing this bold mission of eradicating workplace toxicity for women and helping them to not feel alone or as low as I did. And so I'm doing that in many different ways, but that is my why. And I hope that, today with your listeners and anyone else that hears me speak, that they hear that they are not alone. And there is an organization out there that gets it and is here to help.
I love that so much. And honestly, I couldn't, like, I did my makeup, so I can't like cry, but but I'm like, I get it. Like, and it's not, and I think what's so profound about that experience is that it's not isolated to going into a toxic workplace, even though that's like a very common experience. You can also take it into like your daily ins and outs of motherhood, of being in a relationship that requires so much of you, of running a business, a startup. Maybe it's a thriving business, but maybe you're still stuck in the hustle, stuck in the grind.
Right.
Trying to just figure out, who the hell am I as a woman in a world that doesn't really support me? True. Like, and I say this with a lot of empathy, because although I'm not behind the whole like not all men thing, because I think that's a bunch of foul language, but what systems allow most people to not hurt women, no matter which situation you're in, whether it's that toxic work, whether it's that constant pull of business that just runs you to the ground some days, whether that it's the family dynamic, it doesn't matter which section you're in. The systems aren't there to support you, and they allow people to opt out of supporting you.
Right. And they encourage you to keep on going in those systems without asking for help, without needing help, without looking for help at all. And that's, yeah, it's 100% why I am where I am today.
You think you have to do it all. As women, it's just this idea that you, and I mean, I know that I'm beating a dead horse here a little bit, but you hear this, be a mom like you don't have a job, but have a job like you're not a mom. And it's true. And it's infuriating. And I just want everybody to kind of join us in this conversation when we're kind of exploring, what does this mean to us? What does it mean to us, you and I? What does it mean to us as women functioning in this society? We were both in North America currently, so different places hold different standards and different experiences. But I think it's really important for women to come together, to support one another, to motivate one another, and to act as mentors to one another, no matter where you're at in your own journey of self-discovery, of healing, of processing grief, because it's a really huge thing. So I suppose just to start with, without standing on my soapbox for too long, let me know a little bit more about when people are first coming to you in Face with Grace. What are they really coming to you with? Period. Like, why would they reach out to you? At what point in this crazy experience of life would they be like, dude, I need Kaitlyn right now? It's not even. What does that look like?
So I think it depends on the person. And I say that a lot, but it's so true. I think of myself in that deep, dark place. Like, I was in no headspace to be looking up and asking for help. Right. So a lot of times I get people kind of on the back end of that when they've found that pause somewhere in the madness and realized, oh my gosh, it's awful. I'm in a bad place. I need to reroute, or I'm headed for doom. And so sometimes it's reaching people there. Sometimes, you get lucky and you get somebody who is very self-aware and can see that all happening and unfolding around them, and they do reach out for help. But I'd say more often than not, it's kind of on the back end of working through, living through, surviving an unhealthy work environment. And I think the first thing that we do is really important. It's listening. That's a huge part of my job. You have to listen to the unique scenarios people put at your feet, because A, they're all different. B, sometimes they're not spot on to really what I target. And you have to assess that first. For instance, sometimes people think toxicity is, somebody gave me this example the other day, is like, oh, there's no coffee in the break room and I'm working in a toxic work environment. It's like, no, honey. No. Like we gotta pull back a little bit and strip away feelings out of whatever scenario you're bringing to the table and look at the facts.
Right.
And I have different tools that I've created that help people to really objectify what they're going through. Because a lot of when we face toxicity in a workplace or even in life, right? There is so much emotion around that we really do have to pull that away and put pencil to paper and say, okay, what is actually happening here? Let's put a score to it. Let's put a value on that so we can actually see plain as day, am I dealing with toxicity or not? That's first and foremost the most important thing. And so this is all part of our open eyes, open minds, open hearts framework, where this is the first part, like open your eyes. Let's be very, very clear, very objective. And then open minds becomes, okay, now you have your facts. What are you going to do with it? Right? How are we going to process through this? What are we going to think about? Where do we go from here? What steps can we take? What steps should we take? And then we kind of meld into open hearts where it's like, okay, now what am I? What is my purpose calling me to do? What is the right step for my life, regardless of facts and what steps I can and can't take, and really just making all of that come together. So that's kind of our overarching navigation framework for when women come and say, hey, I'm in this fill in the blank scenario, help, right?
So you mentioned a few things I thought was interesting. So sometimes people are coming to you when they're kind of in the tail end or the whiplash stage of having made that realization. But you also mentioned some people come when they're very self-aware and they've realized, and I'm just going to make an assumption, and I'd like you to correct me if I'm wrong. If people are coming to you before they get to that stage, it's a lot easier to course correct. Yes?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it always makes, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just curious because, like, how might one not only come to you in the whiplash end of things? I'm just thinking, like, come on, I don't want to have to be so low when I'm reaching out for help that it's going to take forever to get there.
Absolutely.
If that's where you're at already, that's a-okay. Ask for the help, get the support, take the time to do it. But if you're not there, it's nice to be able to notice when you might be heading there. And then you can reach out preemptively, right? So how can we make that happen?
So we have developed a red flags checklist, which I'm happy to share with you if you want to put them in your show notes and give that to your listeners. That's a nice tool to just keep in your back pocket, because while it may not be applicable today, maybe you're in a great position at work or life and things are going swimmingly. You know, train wrecks happen. And it's nice to be able to pull that tool out when you're in the thick of that and be able to reference it and say, okay, am I encountering microaggressions? Have I felt, attacked personally or professionally? Fill in the blank. There's so many different things we could look at, but just to, again, strip away that subjectivity and bring in objectivity whenever it's so easy to do the opposite is so critical. And so I think that's where, for the very highly self-aware woman out there, that tool becomes really nice to have, because it gives you that roadmap before you're in the danger zone.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And I think that sometimes for the self-aware woman, they may have actually dipped down already, pulled themselves back up. And the reason they're self-aware is because they've experienced it. They're like, I recognize a pattern.
Yep. Been there, done that. Don't want to go there again.
Yep, absolutely. And so there's strength and vulnerability in that space. And that's where having somebody to turn to can be a complete game changer as to how you proceed after that. Absolutely. Because no matter what, whether you're showing up in business, if you're showing up in life, if you're showing up at in your career, in a corporation, whatever you're doing, you need to feel comfortable and confident in all that you're doing. I will preach till the end of the day. Till the end of the day. Yes, indeed. Until the end of the day, but also until the end of days. That comfortable confidence.
Yeah.
You need to be comfortably confident.
Absolutely.
It's an absolute necessity, because you can't perform your duties, regardless of what they are, if you are constantly flinching. Your shoulders are touching your ears and you're looking, you don't know, you can't, no one can survive like that.
Oh my gosh, I know. And that's exactly where I was. And that's one of many signs that exist whenever you're in that environment and surrounded by that kind of aura and atmosphere, is the way your body reacts to different things. I know me personally, when I am in like the thick of anxiety and stress, I hold my breath and don't realize it until I start breathing again, which is really not healthy, right? But I know like after I left that job, I literally felt my body exhale for the first time in years. And that was so telling to me. It's like, oh my gosh, like I've been holding on to this whole time and I wasn't paying attention to it. Or even to the most simple things like sending an email. I would take an hour to write a simple email because I was so terrified of the repercussions of my words if they were wrong or off the mark or didn't take every single organizational dynamic into account and it rubs someone wrong.
Yeah.
How unhealthy is that?
Yeah, that's not going to fly. Like, and this is, I'm actually, you know what, I'm really glad that you bring that up, because I actually just recently had a conversation with a client of mine about marketing in the same context, because they were nervous about posting a certain thing or about promoting in a certain way. And I thought, well, why? Right? Like what in this situation is making you feel that way? What kind of, have you, this is a, I don't think we should dive into this, but it's just a point.
Yeah.
How have you trained your algorithm? Because what you engage with, what you watch, it matters, because you're going to see more of that. So if you don't like what you see, get out of it. Don't dig in to see how much don't I like this. Don't even look at it for that long. Gone. Go to the next thing. And then when you see some really cool Bill Nye the Science Guy something, like the shit out of that, because then you're gonna, like, I'm all about that. I'm apparently on like wholesome TikTok, because all I get is like Bill Nye the Science Guy and Emily's Wonder Lab. She's wonderful, fabulous, love her. And like all these self-empowerment people come on, and I'm joyful, and it makes me feel empowered to post, to talk about what I do, to explore the world of what does it mean to be authentic, to keep things simple and sustainable, to approach your marketing and your branding in a way that feels holistic and really aligned.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And
you're not, and that's toxic workplace is a business owner. That's the lay of the land that you're creating. Who are you connecting with? How have you conditioned your algorithm, etc., etc., etc.
well, and you just created a whole metaphor for how we approach work in life, right? How are you curating your algorithm in life? If we're feeding into a workplace or a relationship or a persona that is toxic and unhealthy and detrimental to who we are as humans and our core values and our purpose, we're going to keep receiving more and more of that until we break it and break away and change the way we feed our algorithm. Like, I love that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to write a post about it.
I know you will. Just, shameless promotion here. Okay, she posts really amazing things. Like, just genuinely, I enjoy consuming. She's not one you swipe past. Okay, you kind of dive in and you have to. Okay, so I'll leave that where it is. But you're right. You're right. Like, you really need to think intentionally about how you're experiencing life, how you're experiencing your environment. I've actually got kind of two thoughts. The first one is, based on that algorithm metaphor, I actually just recently talked to my daughter about this. We were talking about envy, right? Because Inside Out 2 came out relatively recently. And we were talking about envy and what does it look like? Oh, because my friends get to do this. I've got a tween, okay. It's a whole journey.
A 2-year-old and a 3-year-old is basically the same life, so I get it.
I'm over it, but it's fine. Oh, I'm going to spill my water. So we were talking about envy, and my point was, I had to explain this to her. It took a couple of steps, but you know how the grass is always greener on the other side. That whole idea, like that's envy. But I wanted to show the truth of the matter is the grass is green where you water it.
Yes, preach.
Right. So that was the whole idea. That was my conversation with my daughter, and I think that's true in this circumstance too. Yeah. If you feed it, it will grow. I don't know who keeps feeding my kids because they're like this big and they're 7, but I'm a hobbit, so that's fine. Not surprising. The second point I wanted to bring home is you also mentioned something about, now you didn't use this word, so I'd like to reflect a little bit more on your way of expressing this, but you did mention something that made me think of what is within my control. I don't recall exactly what you had mentioned, but I wrote down control. What is within my control? Because there are some things that you wish you could change, that you're like, this is systemically wrong, whether it's in an organization or if it's in a culture, whatever. But you can't, you're not the decision maker.
Right.
So how can I reclaim my self-trust in a space that may not be supporting me, and control what I can in order to facilitate a sense of thriving rather than surviving?
Yeah. No, I love that. It's so critical. And that's part of what we teach too. So, when you're in that open mind phase of things, so the open eyes, open minds, open hearts, a big part of it is analyzing, root cause, right? What is the cause of the issue here? Is it a system? Is it a person? Is it an attitude? Is it a culture? There's so many things, right? It could be so many different things. And I think oftentimes as humans, we like to point blame at somebody.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's not the issue. It's so easy to do that. And I really always encourage people to pull back, strip back the layers of the onion and really deep dive into true root cause. Most times it is not a person. It is the systemic conditioning to that person, maybe, that I like to think of it as like a med pass in a hospital. Like someone has created this poison systemically, and they've put it in the med cabinet for a nurse to pass off at their med pass, and they're just doing their job, right? Like they're just passing out the poison because that's their job to do, but they didn't create the poison. They got it from the med cart that the organization created. And so it's this sort of stair-stepped effect, and it's top down, and a lot of times that's really where the root issue lies. And so I've encouraged people to look inside themselves and think, okay, if I am in a position of leadership or not, where I do feel that I still have some semblance of control over the people around me and the culture around me, we call it leading with luminescence. And so there's this whole pearl metaphor throughout the whole organization. I can explain that some other time, but leading with luminescence is just about being this sort of bright light within a dark place and serving as a source of positive culture, positive leadership, healthy growth, healthy leadership, all the things that people need to thrive and succeed and grow. If you are in a place, though, where that system is so broken that you don't feel like you can have that control, as you mentioned, to influence others, then it's most likely time to leave. And that's where that workplace health assessment really gives you that concrete idea of, okay, should I stay or should I go?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that in and of itself, that understanding reinforces your sense of self-empowerment, your sense of control, because I can now make an executive choice on my life that is informed and valid, and I can make that choice confidently, especially with the support of the people around you. Because something that you mentioned to me before we even went live was about how women, and this is why it's women, okay, because this is not going to sound new to any woman watching. If you're a man watching, you might have felt this way, maybe, but 100% every woman has felt this idea that, like, am I crazy?
Yes.
Like, I can't tell you how many times it's literally a part of my verbatim. I will ask people, no, but am I full of shit? Like, I ask for that validation, even though, like, I'm the expert. I am telling you this is how it is. And I will say, it is so ingrained in me to think I might be off my rocker. I will say, does that make sense to you?
Right. We're seeking that approval from external sources when really we know the answers. We know what to do. We're women. We are the ones people come to for the answers. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But it's so hard for us to own that because there's so much conditioning, right, around the female spirit that just we lack that comfortable confidence, like you said, in areas where we should be more confident than anyone on the planet. And that's the script that we have to flip to change the world. And that's honestly, like, when I was creating this organization, everyone's like, you need to define your audience, you need to figure out who your client is. And it's like, well, I want to help the world, I want to help everybody. And I was like, you know what, no, I'm going to help women, because if I can help women, I can help the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can change women and our mindset and our constructs and this conditioning we've been forced to believe, we will have this insane ripple effect to everyone in the world, men, women, children, everybody. So that's where my target came from and my why.
I mean, yes,
I love the boys too, but you know.
yeah. And that's why we started this conversation kind of talking about feminism. And I want to just clarify something. If you're here long enough now, I know you're on board, but even if you're kind of mostly on board, but you're skeptical about this feminist movement or anything like that, first of all, it's not new. Second of all, feminism at its root, like, you're going to have extremists.
Mm-hmm.
In any movement, any belief system, any structure like that, you're going to have extremists, sure. But at its root, feminism is actually egalitarianism. Like, we're looking for egalitarianism.
There you go.
We're looking for equity.
Right.
That's it. That's it. We're not looking for women to rule the world, so to speak, but we want people in general to feel a sense of equity.
Right.
To experience a sense of equity, for it to be real and tangible and meaningful. That's all it is. It's not about elevating anybody above anyone else. It's to make sure that everyone is scaffolded in a way that is going to allow them to not just survive, but thrive. I've said this already. We just want everyone to thrive, not just a subsect minority, because that subsect is indeed the minority, even though we are led to believe the opposite. Now, I'm going to get off my soapbox because I could go on a tangent and get all heated, but that's not for today. We're not going to do that today. I want to encourage everybody to go check out Face with Grace. And I don't know, is the luminescent story, is that in there? Is that on your website?
Not on my page yet, but I'm writing a book, and it will be in the book.
Okay, so get on the wait list for the book. If it doesn't exist, make it exist. I'm just saying that because I think that that's a really great place to start, just to dip your toes in, to understand what does it mean. And I was going to say bioluminescent, by the way, because Moana lives front.
Lives in your brain. Yeah.
I was going to say front re. This is my brain. Hello, everyone. It does, though. And I just think of Tamatoa with the little thing. Oh, what did she, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Bioluminescent algae is the thing. It's just there. Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox and I'm going to actually give the mic over to Kaitlyn, because I know, Kaitlyn, there's so much here. And that's actually what I was getting at with this whole luminescent idea, is that there's a lot for us to unpack and a lot of different angles that we could take. I actually didn't get to talking to you about that last phase of your steps, because that whole sense of purpose, that whole sense of not just you changing the world, but all of us having the opportunity to change the world with this sort of community and support. But I'm not going to get to that right now, because we need to have another conversation, because there's just so much more to impact. That said, we've talked about a lot. And it can feel kind of overwhelming and invigorating, but like, what path do I choose now? That's how I'm feeling. So I know that our audience is kind of on the same, okay, that's great, Shauna. The hell do I do with that? I'm going to give you the opportunity to kind of give them some direction. Give us all some direction. But before I do that, I want to remind everybody that this conversation, first of all, part one, we've got to have another one. Second of all, more conversations just like this happen every week. And you get to join in. Press the subscribe button. Be notified when they come out. And of course, comment, message us. Tell us what you loved. Tell us what you hated. Give us your 2 cents. We're not going anywhere. We're here to make the change, and we want you to join us. Okay. You take the mic, my friend, because they're done listening to me.
Well, I just want to say thank you first and foremost for having me on and letting me share a little bit of my story. You heard a small portion today. I've got a lot more to talk about. So I do hope you check out the book when it is released. But in the meantime, while you're waiting on those pearls of wisdom coming out of my brain, you can scan the QR code here or go to our website at www.facewithgrace.org. If you have been listening and thought, man, that resonates, how do I reach out? What are those next steps to your point? The best place to start is to just shoot me an email. You can do that at connect@facewithgrace.org. I am an email away at any point in the day and here to help, and even if you reach out and you feel like, oh, I just don't even know if this is a good fit or not, ask the question. I'll be honest with you. I'm a pretty straight shooter, so happy to help, here to lock arms with you, and just really walk with you if you are walking through a toxic journey. You don't have to do it alone, and we can help you to the other side. I have pulled myself out and survived to tell the tale, and here to hopefully see other women never have to go through what I went through.
Isn't that the truth? And I want to remind everybody, every woman watching, is that like, we are walking a toxic journey, friends. Whether it's in your corporation or wherever else, we are. And it is helpful to have somebody you can turn to. So I strongly advise you shoot her the email, even if it's just to say, hello, how can I support? Right? Because if you've already been through it, maybe this is your opportunity to give back. And if you need the help, that's what we're here for. That's something that I incorporate into all that I do within my branding and marketing, making sure that you're feeling comfortably confident and aligned in all that you're doing in your business. So again, same thing. I'm only an email away. Go to my contact page. You can find me at www.shaunaligh.com, SHAUNALEIGH. Link is in the show notes. Reach out. We're not going anywhere. With that, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. And I hope that you can find somebody to be your Christoph today, because it matters. You matter. And we're here to make a difference.